Your sneeze can genuinely kill you. And though it happens rarely, the blast it carries is still a real, hidden little weapon. That blast leaves your mouth as roughly 40,000 droplets in a single choked second, each tiny one carrying your microbes. The spray erupts outward at a genuine speed, then settles unmissably upon each reachable flat surface in the whole room. Most people picture a polite little sniffle, but the whole honest reflex is a sudden, full, pressurized burst of the upper airway. That blast throws 40,000 droplets out of your mouth in one choked second, and every tiny one carries your microbes. The pressure gathers low in the chest, builds up behind the held breath, and suddenly demands to blast right outward through the nose. A sneeze begins down in the chest, and the whole reflex is one firm, sudden slam that clears the upper airway. Sneezes feel like a pure accident, yet your body gives you a tiny reflex lid you can clench to stop the entire burst. People stifle that reflex all the time, clamping nose and lips shut, so the office never hears a single cough. Out in public, that clamping feels enormously polite, but covering both exits does something harsh to the pressure nobody expects. One man in his early 30s tried exactly that, pinching his nose shut to muffle a sneeze inside a crowded waiting bay. That single stifled sneeze tore a tiny hole straight through the wall of his windpipe, quite big enough to leak precious air. Doctors call it a spontaneous perforation, and scans found the slit sitting right behind his collarbone, deep in the neck. The same trick can burst an eardrum, crack a rib, or push trapped air into the tissue that guards a vital organ. Here is the honest headline. A sneeze you strangle multiplies the pressure that your inner body spaces were never built to hold. That extra strain never troubles a perfectly healthy body, but it can rip a weakened aorta like snapping an old frayed rope. An aorta is the biggest artery inside you, a wide crimson pumping pipe that feeds the entire living body all its blood. One unusual medical journal recorded a patient whose major aorta split cleanly apart in the moments after a single heavy sneeze. One unusual medical journal recorded a patient whose major aorta split cleanly apart in the moments after a single heavy sneeze. Now picture the same pressure spike striking your head. A secret aneurysm in the brain is the sneeze's nastiest target. Doctors logged a middle-aged man who let go one forceful sneeze, then slid within moments into a frightening brain bleed. Scans showed the real culprit, a small bulging artery in his skull that the sudden pressure surge had finally burst right open. Blood then flooded the tight space around the brain, and about half of everyone who suffers this terrible bleed ends up dying. 80% of those bleeds trace right back to a hidden aneurysm the patient never even knew was sitting there, quietly waiting. None of these unlucky victims ever knew they carried a time bomb, and a routine allergy sneeze became the final short fuse. Now widen the shot right out to those tiny droplets, because every sneeze launches your living germs along with that raw pressure. A single cough spits roughly 3,000 droplets, while one sneeze hurls a whole 40,000 of them into the room. A single cough spits roughly 3,000 droplets, while one sneeze hurls a whole 40,000 of them into the room. For centuries, doctors leaned on a single wretched slogan, that coughs and sneezes spread disease onward to the next unlucky victim. But before you fear the air itself, hear the honest scale. A sneeze alone is vanishingly rarely the actual killer. The truly deadly version needs a transport problem first. A hidden, fragile, weak spot quietly waiting inside your own body. The truly deadly version needs a transport problem first. A hidden, fragile, weak spot quietly waiting inside your own body. So a sneeze does not kill you outright. It simply finds the one cracked brick and knocks the whole old building down. That is why the warning signs matter deeply. The worst headache of a life or a tearing chest is the signal to move.
Now.
After a stifled sneeze, sudden neck pain or trouble swallowing signals a torn pipe, and that means you go to a doctor. The correct move is never to strangle the sneeze blast. Point it away safely from the nearest crowded row of faces instead. Sneeze into the crook of an elbow, keep the hands clean, and let the pressure spend itself harmlessly out into the open air. Do not pinch the nose shut and swallow the force, because that redirected pressure is exactly what does the serious hidden damage. Mild superstition insists the heart stops for a beat, but your cheerful pulse trudges on through every single full-blown eruption. Nor do your eyeballs actually pop out from the pressure, though holding them open mid-sneeze takes genuine effort every time. Folklore once sold sneezes as the soul escaping, and every blessing or salute we toss still nods to that old fear. So the sneeze is never the villain. The danger hides in a fragile body, a blocked exit, or the germs it flings forward. Everything else about this sneeze reflex is a release valve, a small explosion built to finally keep your lungs clear and alive. So, respect the sneeze without ever dreading it, like an honest little alarm that is mostly saving the whole building from smoke. The people who die from it are almost always people carrying a hidden weakness, and never the ordinary, perfectly healthy, everyday crowd. So the honest answer to the opening question is a firm, simple yes, but only with help from the body that owns it. Treat that tiny blast like a cough with real ambition. Let it out cleanly and keep your hands off your own face. The strongest weapon stays common sense, and the deadliest wrong move remains pinching shut your nose while swallowing the force. By now, the pressure balloon has swollen to a full giant beach ball, and the final pop comes right on the next beat. So yes, a single sneeze can end you, but yours deserves to be just a clean, tiny, merciful, harmless exit.